Okay, this is question 12 on the calculator paper, the foundation calculator paper. Okay, this question takes up almost a whole page, and there's a graph on the question which occupies a large amount of space. If we read the question, you can use the graph to change between miles and kilometers. You can use the graph to change between miles and kilometers. So if I just zoom out a little bit, you could see that down here you've got miles, and on the side here you've got kilometers. Okay, so this graph could be used to change between miles and kilometers. And the question just has two parts. Okay, the first part, I'll show you this and then I'll... Okay, so here are the two parts to the question. Change 3 miles to kilometers. Change 3 miles into kilometers. Okay, I'm going to go straight into doing that particular question, and if I need to change 3 miles into kilometers, I need to use my trusty ruler and pencil. Make sure you do use a pencil for this. If we're going to do anything on the graph, make sure you do use a pencil and use a ruler to make sure you draw straight lines. Now, what this question is telling me is if there's 2 miles, so to change that to kilometers, I look at 2 miles on the mile section, go all the way up, and then read it across to decide how many kilometers that is. I'm actually going to do the same for 3 miles. So I am going to use the ruler, and I'm going to draw in lines here to show the examiner what I've done and how I've done it. I can't actually tell him or write something to explain that in great detail, but instead I'm going to make sure that all that information is on this graph. I'm going to try and make it so that it's accurate as possible, and that's what I'm looking for, that point there. Okay, so I need to sort of read that off now. If I look at this, between 4 and 5 there are 10 spaces, so that's going to be 4.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, that's 4.5, 4.6, 4.7, 4.8. So that's going to be 4.8 kilometers. 3 miles is 4.8 kilometers. Going on to the next part of the question, change 60 kilometers into miles. Changing 60 kilometers into miles. Now, if you went all the way up this scale, you will not come across 60 kilometers. So what you need to do, you need to try to multiply up in this case. Now, how do we do that? Well, it's actually not too difficult because this is the calculator paper, so I can actually use my calculator to help me with the timesing as well, even if I get some complicated numbers. Now, you need to think about what's a nice number that could go into 60. Now I'm going to lower this a bit so we can actually see some of the other numbers in here, because I think we've got one that is pretty sort of useful for us. We've got the number 6. And the reason why the number 6 is useful is 6 times 10 will give me 60. So if I did pretty much what I did before, but this time change 6 kilometers into miles. So let's see what that is. 6 kilometers. Now it's sort of halfway between those. So I'm going to go just to there. Alright. So you do need to have a look and try this question on the paper. I need to figure out what that value that is. So 6 kilometers is, now that's 3, that's 3.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. 3.8 miles. So 60 kilometers, that means I'm timesing by 10. 6 times 10 is 60. And if I use my calculator, 3.8 times it by 10, which you should know this, that's going to be 38. 38. Well, I'm putting my answer here, 38 miles. Easy marks this question is. Make sure you go over it again. Go over it, take your time, and make sure you get this completely. If I just raise this up, you can see where I put the answer and all the information on this question. Do try this question. Popular this question is, right? Make sure you get it.